Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Sports Betting by Dummies. I'm your host, Patty Parlays, and joining me, as always, the man who's never lost, rocking the fresh LA cap, Tyler. Tyler, welcome in.
Thank you, sir. I will try to fill in for Dizzle today. He can't come in. Things
You
happen.
you need to get like some WD-40 or something for that chair, man. That thing is squeaky as F, man.
Free chair, man.
Hey, free is free, right?
Free is free. I'm sorry. The people come for the squeaks.
Ah, see that's next level thinking I was not thinking about. So, all right, Tyler, as we kind of discussed previously, the NBA trade deadline has come and gone, and it was a very active trade deadline. The NBA trade deadline might be the best trade deadline in all of sports.
It was wild today. We saw some actual big names move at the trade deadline for once.
Yeah.
Uh, Celtics very active today.
Pacers, I
Probably.
mean, Pacers were active not today, but just in general they were active.
hmm
So let's go over some of these trades. Obviously, we won't be able to hit all of them. We're just going to hit the big name ones. It's not on the list because it hadn't happened yet when I made the episode notes, but we got to talk about the Ben Simmons James Harden trade. I mean, obviously, that's the biggest, the most important, the biggest deal. Initial thoughts from you on that trade?
I mean, they gave up a ton to get James Harden. Looks like it says Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks.
Yep.
That's a pretty big haul. I mean, James Harden not having his best season either, but I mean, it gets you off of Ben Simmons, I guess.
So this trade is one of those weird ones, right? Because we know what player Ben Simmons has been in the past or what Ben Simmons can be, but basically the Sixers traded a roster spot and some cash for James Harden, right? I mean, Ben Simmons was of no worth or value to the 76ers if he stayed on the team past the trade deadline.
I mean, I wouldn't say a roster fund some cash. Seth Curry's been a pretty good player.
No, I'm just saying from a Ben
Uh,
Simmons
yeah,
perspective. You're basically anyone that's like, well, the 76ers got screwed. Well, Ben Simmons was of no value to them. And
no, they were paying him too.
yeah. So I don't hate this move for either team, but I will say I was surprised at the haul the Nets got for James Harden. I mean, getting Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and 2 first round draft picks. I mean, that's a pretty good haul. And then even Drummond. Drummond's a serviceable big
Yeah,
man.
Drummond will probably be their starter at center now too, right? I mean, so they essentially got what would be 3 starters on a lot of teams,
And then 2 first round draft picks too.
right?
So I think it's hard to argue that the Nets didn't win that trade, but at the same time, I don't think the 76ers necessarily were in the wrong with the move they made.
I kind of have some questions on what happens now with Ben Simmons though, because he hasn't been playing, and his excuse was mental health that so he could get paid. But I mean, if he just comes back now, suddenly the trade's gone, and I can play, doesn't mention it, like that's a pretty big slap in the face to mental health and mental health awareness, which is something like even the NFL that's normally a few years behind on social causes. That's one of the things they've been promoting big this year. Like it kind of seems like that's a bad look if he can just suddenly play again.
Yeah, for sure. So I was trying to see this because I saw this earlier, and something said that like the Nets are looking forward or like hoping to get working with Ben Simmons to get him in a right mental space to be able to play basketball. So it sounds like, they were kind of prepared for this. Could this all just be a smokescreen and saying he actually just didn't want to play for the 76ers? Who knows? We'll come to find that out. But you're absolutely right. We don't know if even Ben Simmons will be mentally ready to play or be able to play anytime soon.
And I really don't think he should just magically be able to play.
If
Like I
he
said, that just be like mental health. That's a cause that mental health awareness. That's a cause I really care about, and like I know I'd be offended if some, if he came back day one and suddenly like, oh yeah, no, I'm good now. Like
Yeah,
I just think that'd be kind of like a slap in the face to anyone that struggles with mental health or has friends or family that struggle with mental health.
100%. And not only like at first I was like, well, if he comes back within the next week and starts playing, that's bad. But then it's like, even if he comes back in the next month, that's still pretty much a slap in the face to, mental health or anything like that.
Right. 'Cause, like it's just like if it comes out that he was just, which a lot of people do think he's just using that as an excuse because that way he didn't have to play and he got to collect his paychecks.
Right, right.
So like if he comes out and plays like I don't see how the NBA like that'd just be a bad look for the NBA in general to allow that.
For sure. For sure. I imagine if he does come back like relatively soon, I imagine he will get fined pretty heavily by the NBA. But again, we don't know. It's all speculation at this point. But
Right.
the big names moved there. Another big name, Tyler, that really kind of shocked me that got traded today. Our boy Porzingis got traded to the Washington Wizards.
That trade or what that full trade was. Do you have it on you?
I know it was Dinwiddie and Dinwiddie for so it's Porzingis and a future second round pick to the Wizards, and then the Mavericks get Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans.
I mean, I may still be thinking about Porzingis in his prime Knicks days, but like that seems kind of like a pretty good deal. I
I
mean,
can't believe that the Mavericks were willing to part ways with him. I thought things were going okay there. I mean, they've been a pretty decent team this season. I just wonder if uh, him and Luca just haven't been, gelling so much.
it could be like a LeBron situation where LeBron gets people off his team if he doesn't like them. Luke is a franchise player. Maybe he didn't like him and said, hey, Mark Cuban, this guy stinks. Get him out of here. And
Yeah.
because it's, I mean, they're not really filling his position with either of the players they got back. So
No, 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 no. And
um,
I
I
do.
don't see how that makes them better.
Who, the Mavericks?
Yeah.
I think Dinwiddie was underutilized and underperforming a little bit in Washington. I know in his days in Brooklyn, like he could ball out and show out, like you know, at any given game. But I wonder if the Mavericks were just looking for a better ball handler. I believe their starting point guard, I believe, was Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson's been good though, hasn't he?
He's been serviceable. I don't know about good, but I would think Dinwiddie would be a step up, or maybe they even go Dinwiddie and Brunson together, just because I know who is it? Hardaway's been hurt, so maybe they're looking for another two guard to you know go with them. But I thought that was a surprising trade. Usually, a player of Porzingis's status, usually there's rumors or talking about it, ahead of time. I felt like this one kind of came out of left field.
He may not be the player, he may have never met the potential everyone thought he would, but it's still tough to find a 7'3", guy that can stretch the court a little bit and potentially can play some defense. His effort's a little hit or miss, but
Gotcha.
he
Yeah.
has the tool. He has all the tools to be a good player.
Yep. I agree. Let's let's transition to your team now, Tyler. The Celtics. Like you said, the Celtics were very active today, in particular for the trade deadline. I think there was probably one trade you liked, one trade you didn't like, or how are you
Um,
feeling about them?
I think I like it. Liked it. I feel like the Derek White trade. Derek White's a great player. Weird doorbell rang, but no one's out there. The ring didn't come on, but back to the normal. Derek White's a good player. Giving up Langford, who hasn't really been great. He's been a good defender. Richardson has actually been pretty solid, shot above 40% this year, and a first round pick for this year, and which not very heavily protected, top four. So there's,
Pretty much no
unless
chance.
unless the Celtics just lose out from here on out, like they're not. that pick's gone, and a 2028 pick swap
Yeah.
that San Antonio can exercise. It just seems like a lot to give up for a guy that, I mean,
He'll probably be like sixth man, wouldn't he?
yeah, but I mean, the Celtics could really use shooting, and Derek White's having a terrible shooting
I
year.
was gonna say he's not who I think of when you think of a shooter.
I mean, he has shot well in the past, but I think this year his 3 points like maybe 31%, I believe. Um, the other move, I mean, getting Daniel Tice back, pretty solid.
I was gonna say your guy Daniel Tice. I mean,
I mean, that's a solid. He was a starter last year on the team, and they got rid of Enos Canner, who hasn't really been on the court or a factor. He's almost been a distraction more than anything with his off court stuff.
please, Enos, freedom,
Freedom. Yeah, I'm
please.
sorry. Enos Cantor Freedom. Just to get a serviceable big back there, that's good. I mean,
And Schroeder
I
wasn't
don't feel
getting
like
much playing time, right?
I think they were making sure he didn't get hurt
Yeah,
because they knew. I mean, when they signed him this offseason, I think everyone knew he was getting traded.
yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, expiring deal. He's a better player than his contract was for this year too. So they knew they weren't going to have. They knew he wasn't going to be on the team next year.
Yeah.
He's gonna get paid more in the offseason than he got this year, like $5 million. I mean, players that don't even see the court ever get paid $5 million in the NBA. So
Yeah.
I mean, overall, he was gone. They picked up White, who can play the point guard. So now they have Smart and White, ready to go.
Is Derek White a point guard? I thought he was a forward.
No, he's a guard.
Son of a gun. I totally told Paul, that my coworker, that he was a forward, and I was totally wrong.
No, I mean he's a combo guard, but he can. I mean, he moves the ball pretty well.
Okay.
You see him.
I'll have to mention that to him tomorrow, that I was wildly wrong.
Yeah, I mean, let me pull up his stats for this year. Yeah, he's listed as a point guard. He's averaging 14.4 points, 3.5 rebounds, 5.6 assists. So, I mean, he is 22nd in the NBA in assists per game, which is not bad considering he played in San Antonio with DeJounte Murray, who's
Right.
a heck of a player.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And then I do want to touch on this because this might come into play a little bit later. CJ McCollum to the Pelicans for Josh Hart and a bunch of other people. We will see tonight how this goes for the Pelicans. It was just announced that CJ McCollum is active tonight for the Pelicans. And the Blazers pretty much traded everyone else in this trade except for Josh Hart. But like I mentioned to you earlier, Tyler, the Pelicans are actually in the playoff race. So I don't hate this move for them.
Um, I'm not really sure where they're going though. Like, are you really trading that many assets to ensure a play-in game spot?
Well, fair, but you have to also think about like the different types of teams, right? A lot of times we're like, all right, the Nets, 76ers, they're always at the top, like they're playing to win a championship. So these teams like the Pelicans, the Rockets, the Magic, they're hoping to get into the playoffs, whether it is just in the play-in game or whatever. So I think they're trying to show one Zion that they care about this team. They're trying to win now. They're not trying to build for the future. But also, they have Jonas Valanciunas, they have Brandon Ingram, they have Devontae Graham. They have a serviceable starting lineup. So I think they're trying to make a playoff push and make it at least interesting this year.
I mean, is that all basically an effort to say, "Hey, Zion, we're trying"?
Hey, I don't know. It could be. I mean, you got to think they got to try something. I don't know. Is Zion even gonna play like ever again?
No, I mean they're in a tough spot because they have to pick up his option, or either turn down or pick up his option soon, right? And
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. And
when he plays, he has been good.
oh no, if he plays, he's fantastic. I mean, there's no debating that. But I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen him yet this year. I don't know, man. It's crazy. All
I
right.
don't know. The trade just was kind of confusing from both teams. Like, I
Well,
don't.
The
think
Blazers are in
I might,
straight up fire
yeah,
sale. I mean, I don't know
other
even.
than their best player
Yeah,
who's on the wrong side of 30.
but
Like it seems.
maybe their best player was the whole reason that they did this. Maybe he said, "Look, I want a fresh start. I want to build this team like the way I want it. You know, get some cap space, free everyone up, just get rid of everyone. We'll try again next year, and I want to bring in the people I want to bring in." But again, it was very confusing that the Blazers just kind of basically sold their
Like,
entire team for nothing.
right, I get them selling. Like I said, I just don't get why you sell and keep Dame there.
Yeah, maybe he didn't have any interest because no one knows how bad his injury is. But that seems
Yeah, I'm
I
sure someone would have thrown a flyer at him. I
may,
mean, they could wait till the off season until he's healthy too. I mean, Dame said before he wants to stay in Portland, but I just don't think they can put a winning team around him. It's hard in the NBA if you don't. The teams like that aren't just free agent destinations. You have to hit all your draft picks. I mean, you have to luck into it.
Yep, absolutely. Which leads us to our next location, the Pacers. The Pacers made some big moves in this trade deadline. The first one, Karis LeVert to the Cavs for Rubio and draft picks. Um, so, I mean, now the Pacers have presumably 3 top 35 draft picks in next year's draft. But like you said, it's hard to hit in the draft. I mean, and the Pacers historically have not been great at it. Um, but it does free up about $18 million of cap space for next offseason with Rubio's expiring contract. So, some things that people like, cap space money and draft picks. So the Pacers checked all those boxes. I don't hate that trade. I mean, personally, a lot of people were like, "Wow, we traded Karis LeVert for nothing." But I mean, what are your
I
thoughts?
mean, they didn't. Did they not trade Rubio today?
No.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't use Rubio to, trade his expiring to pick up a pick and take on a big contract or something. Like when they got trade or when they made that trade, that's what I assumed was going to happen there.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's an expiring deal. Like you said, we got picks. Um, Pacers really haven't had the most success on picks. I mean, in what the past decade, their biggest hits have been Paul George, Miles Turner, and I guess Duarte this year. Other than that, it's been kind of scarce on players that actually hit.
Yeah.
Although I did like this draft this year. Duarte is solid. Isaiah Jackson looks like he's decent. Dewey Washington Jr. He's lit up the board a couple games.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think this past year we made great strides in our draft picks. So if we can continue that streak, I mean, we could be seeing a Pacers team, transformed. And like you said, small market team like this, a lot of times you have to draft well to be relevant. And so, we're kind of hoping for that. But then that leads us into the next trade. In this trade, I actually really love Sabonis, Holiday, and Lamb to the Kings for Halliburton, Heald, and Tristan Thompson. Um, the Kings are getting buried for this trade, Tyler.
I mean, I like this trade a lot more. A lot of people were kind of like, what the heck, Pacers, you didn't get any picks.
Oh.
But I mean, like we said, Pacers haven't really hit on their draft picks lately, but the
Mm.
players they've traded for have actually done really well. Like you look at the Paul George trade, people didn't think Oladipo would be anything. Oladipo played great when he was on the Pacers. Sabonis, not really thought of highly when he was traded here. He played great. I mean, the people they traded for, I mean, LeVert played well. Like
Yeah.
pretty much Brogdon's been great. Their best players other than Turner for the past probably 5 years, ever since Paul George left, have all been people they traded for, not people they drafted. So like them getting Halliburton, who has been already been good
Yeah.
in the NBA in second year, I believe.
I know he's 21 years old. I don't know if it's his like second or third year, but I mean, regardless, right? They now have a young upcoming star. We've already seen some of his potential, and we don't have to draft to get this. This is a sure thing. We already know what kind of player this guy is. So I mean, the Pacers. I mean, I think they came out big winners in the trade deadline. They got 3 top 35 draft picks. They got cap space for next year, and they got a young and upcoming star. And I think even like Healed, I mean, I don't know where he fits in because we're very guard heavy now, but I mean, I think he's still serviceable.
I mean, the only issue with Heald is he's old. For
Mm,
what he's what a fifth year player, and he's gonna be 30 by the end of the year, I believe.
yeah,
But I mean, good shooter. At least spread the court. He'll be fun. He'll probably sell some more tickets because he's fun to watch. Everyone remembers his run at Oklahoma in the tournament. That was electric. So I know he has a lot. He has name power at least.
yeah,
You
for
say
sure.
Buddy Hield, people know who Buddy Hield is, like, which is kind of surprising. A lot of my friends who are kind of casual fans, saw Buddy Hield and like, oh yeah, Buddy Hield, like, got excited about him and not Halliburton. It's like, Halliburton's the clear target here. That's who we wanted.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't even know Tristan Thompson. I mean, just another big that can
Uh,
get down there and
they
you
actually already said he won't play for the Pacers.
know.
They're
Okay, that's kind of what I
they're
figured, but I wasn't
yeah,
sure.
he's he's wants to play for a contender, but I mean,
Good
I
luck with that.
also suck at basketball and wouldn't mind getting paid to play for a contender. So
Yeah,
him and I, one and the same there. At
yeah.
least in the eyes, at least in the eyes of the Pacers.
Nice. Any other trades or anything, Tyler, that caught your eye or you want to talk about?
Let me scroll through, refresh my memory. There was a lot of movement today.
A lot of
See what we
movement.
got. Nothing really huge. A lot of smaller things.
Yeah,
I know the Celtics. We forgot the Celtics dumped Bull and PJ Dozier.
for like a future second round draft pick.
Well, they gave up a pick and money to
Yeah,
get rid of him. They just wanted him off the books. It did that move, and all the other moves with the Celtics did help them get under the luxury cap. The issue with them now is they are under the luxury cap. They have around $3 million to spend, but all the moves today have left them with 5 open roster spots and like 2 million, like 2 to 3 million to fill them. So I mean, they may be able to. I mean, they've been playing great lately. They won their last 9 straight, I believe.
yeah,
Um, Buyout market comes soon. Always happens day after trade deadline. They might be able to get somebody coming in for vet mins, just because they think, hey, Celtics have a good chance. I mean, they're what, like six in the East right now, but I believe like the East is close. Like that
yeah,
6 in the East is what, 4 games back from first.
yeah. It's very close in the East. Yeah,
And I believe the Celtics have like some of the highest net ratings in most stats right now because they've been playing so well lately.
yeah, for sure. I mean, Tristan Thompson, probably be bought out, maybe go back to the Celtics. Was he ever on the Celtics, or am I making that up?
He was last year. You are not making that up. He was not very inspiring play from him last year.
Gotcha.
I
Goran
mean, he's
Dragic.
doing
Dragic, he got traded today to the Spurs, and they already said I think that he's going to be bought out. So
They were just, they were basically doing what I thought the Celtics, or not Celtics, sorry, the Pacers would do with Rubio.
yeah,
They traded away some people, some expirings, took on Dragic's big contract, and got rewarded with a first round pick, I believe. Or was it a second? I want to say first.
I
Probably, I believe a protected first is what it was.
yeah,
Yeah, I've got this up here. Yeah, they gave up Thad Young, Drew Eubanks, and the Pistons 2022 pick, and got back. And got back Goran Dragic and the Raptors 2022 first round pick protected 1 through 14. This year, protected 1 through 13 in 2023 turns into 2 future seconds if it doesn't convey in those 2 years. So they basically just said, hey, we stink this year. We're not going anywhere. Send us Dragic. We'll eat that salary cap, but we want your pick.
yeah, yeah.
Which, like I said, that's what I assumed the Pacers were going to do with some of the people, the expiring contract they got. Didn't happen.
Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the spot the Pacers are in.
No, I mean they've got good talent. They've got, like you said, with the picks they have, that Rockets second round pick should be in the top, top first few picks of that second round. That's a lot of people call that the European lottery because that's where a lot of the European players are taken.
Mm.
That the scouts don't have good. We've seen a lot of good European players come out of the second round. I believe was Jokic was, I believe.
Possibly, yeah.
Manu Ginobili.
Yeah.
We've seen it happen before. It's a good spot, and Pacers think so. They should have a high pick
Yep. Yep.
in a good spot, like he said.
Yep. All right, Tyler. So now that we're done with talking trades, let's get into the actual slate for tonight. I need your assistance. We've been
Meet at
close
the
the past few we've been close the past few nights, Tyler. We have been so close.
couple heartbreakers.
Couple heartbreakers, but tonight's the night. Tonight's the night we hit it big. This first one, I think it's an easy one, but I'm still taking your opinion on it. Grizzlies at Pistons. Grizzlies 12-point favorites, over under 225.5. Let me verify that line is still there. Ugh. But while we wait, Pistons 14-12 ATS at home. Grizzlies 19-8 ATS away. Grizzlies 6-1 ATS their last 7. Pistons 1-4 ATS their last 5. Cade Cunningham is officially out tonight for the Pistons. Nothing crazy going on with the Grizzlies injury wise. I heavy lean to the Grizzlies here, Tyler. What say you?
Uh, Pistons stink. Let's be real here.
The Pistons
Not,
were one of the teams that screwed me in my thing the other night.
was that the one against the spread they've had in their last 4?
No, they
got you.
lost. No, I bet on the Pistons and they lost.
Oh,
And that was the one that cost me. So,
I mean, like we said, the Pistons stink, man.
and when Cunningham's out, he's their best player. So I actually liked the Grizzlies -12, even if Cade was playing. Now that he's not, I like this even more.
I'm with you. I mean, like I said, it's just not a good basketball team.
Yeah.
Grizzlies have been playing well. I mean, especially those last 7 games, like you said, 6-1 against the spread.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Ridiculous.
Tough to argue. First.
Yep. So we're going Grizz -12 there.
Sure.
All right, this next one's very interesting. The Nets at the Wizards. The Wizards are 1.5-point favorites at home. The over under here is at 217.5. Brooklyn obviously owns all major offensive categories. Wizards 12-15 ATS at home. Nets 14-14 ATS away. Nets 0-5 ATS their last 5. Wizards 1-8 ATS their last 9. Beal and Gafford and obviously Porzingis now are out for the Wizards. Durant, Harden's gone, so he's out. Harris is out. Aldridge is out, and then whoever they traded for, Simmons is out. Curry's out. Drummond's
Millsap
out.
got traded too, so he's not there.
So for all of these reasons, I actually lean the under 218.5. Or it's actually 217.5, but I still like the under here. The Nets haven't scored more than 112 in their last 5, and the Wizards' highest scoring game in the last 5 is 106. I don't know who can score for the Nets other than Irving. I don't know who can score for the Wizards. Period. I think this under is pretty much a lock at this point.
I'm with you. I couldn't even tell you who's suiting up for the Nets today, really.
I actually saw a tweet for it. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. Nets available players on Thursday. Kyrie Irving, Patty Mills, Kessler Edwards, James Johnson, Blake Griffin, Javon Carter, Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas, David Duke Jr., and Darren Sharp. That's their entire roster tonight.
Yeah, that doesn't instill me with confidence in them.
And even with the fact that is their roster, I don't feel comfortable taking the Wizards to win this game.
So this is at the Wizards then, since Kyrie's playing?
Correct.
Okay.
So I think the under is the play. I was expecting this under to be at like 206. When I saw it as high as 217, I thought this was an easy under.
I mean, I like it. I mean, they're short-handed. Their rotation's going to be really short. Players that don't get a lot of run are going to be in. They're probably going to be gassed,
Yeah.
you
And
know, and not a lot of scoring on that roster, anyways. So,
correct. All
and
right.
then Wizards scores are out or unavailable too. So,
Yeah. Well, and I guess Dinwiddie, he was on Washington, wasn't he? So that's
mhm.
another scorer for Washington that's not going to be playing there tonight. So I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be an ugly game.
yeah, yeah, not one
Not
you'll
a
want
lot.
to watch.
No, not my league pass choice of the night.
No. Also, speaking of League Pass, I have that now, so we should do like a watch party sometime. You ever seen that? Maybe it's only on PC, but I can definitely be like, hey, let's start a watch party, and then we watch on the same stream, and we could probably comment and talk back and forth.
Perfect. I'm down for that.
But moving on, the Heat at the Pelicans. The Heat are, well, let me check and make sure. The Heat are 4-point favorites. The over under is 217.5. Pelicans 14-10-1 ATS at home. Heat 18-13 ATS away. Heat 12-6 ATS their last 18. Pelicans a surprising 5-0 ATS their last 5. It looks like pretty much everyone is playing tonight for the Pelicans, even CJ McCollum and Tony Snell. I'm trying to look real quick. I think they announced that I don't know if Harrow was listed as questionable or if he's listed as out. Let me. So Harrow is listed as questionable. He was a late add to the injury report, but other than that, it seems like everyone is playing tonight. Um, I have no idea with this one, Tyler. I struggled heavily figuring this game out. I'm curious if you have a take or a thought that might sway one way or the other.
Uh, do we do we have to make a pick today on this one? Because it's,
I am completely okay with
I
staying
mean,
away from this one. I
yeah,
mean,
I mean, this one might be a stay away. There's just, there's a lot of factors we don't really understand. Or, we don't really have the information on. We don't know what. I mean, just the trade deadline. You don't know what you're getting into, what teams are going to look like. If McCollum even knows the offense at all of what they're running.
well that's the exact thing. And like originally, I was thinking maybe Pelicans because of McCollum, but then you're right. Like you just don't know. Like Sabonis came out last night, balled out for the Kings, led them to a 15-point win over the Timberwolves. But not every trade will be like that. It's and especially with McCollum, who's more of a guard player, it's a lot harder to be just kind of a throw in there and just go down low and just do what you can. There's
Yeah.
actually you actually have to know what you're doing in guard. You have to run the offense some. So I am completely good with staying away from that one tonight.
I mean, I don't see the point in risking money when there's no real, the numbers don't really give us any indication on what to do because none of these numbers count for anything today.
That is correct. That is correct. Very wise you are, Tyler. All right. Moving on. Raptors at Rockets. The Raptors 7.5-point favorites on the road. Over under is 226.5. Rockets a whopping 8-17 ATS at home. Raptors 15-9-1 ATS away. Raptors are also 7-0 ATS their last 7. Rockets 1-6 ATS last 7. Two teams obviously going in opposite directions. Um, Eric Gordon is listed as out for the Rockets, and then Fred Van Vliet is out for the Raptors. Um, I still think I heavily lean to the Raptors in this matchup, Tyler, but what are you thinking?
I mean, I'm with you. As you've said before, and the numbers back it up. Raptors are a really good away team. They're good, they're just good on the road. Not a lot of teams are. Rockets aren't good anywhere.
True. Very true.
Doesn't matter where they play. And I mean, I don't think the Raptors made any huge moves today, did they?
They
Really,
just they
anything?
just got rid of Dragic, right?
Who wasn't playing
Who wasn't
anyways?
playing, yeah. So no, the Raptors pretty much just got rid of Dragic and stayed put, I think.
So I mean, you know, everyone's there, but Van Vliet, good on the road, playing a bad team. I mean, seven's not that many points. So
Well, and I guess technically, right, the Rockets got rid of Daniel Tice. I mean, that's pretty much the only move they did. I don't know if Tice was playing much for him, but you got to think he was at least doing something.
I mean, one of their better shooters out in Eric Gordon. So
Yeah, for sure. So we'll go Raptors then on that one. The next game, Clippers at Mavericks. Mavericks 7-point favorites. Over unders 215.5. Mavericks 15, 13, and 1 ATS at home. Clippers 14 and 13 ATS away. Clippers 1 and 4 ATS the last 5. Mavericks 5 and 2 ATS the last 7. When I originally did this, I had Porzingis out for the Mavericks. He's obviously no longer there, but Dinwiddie is obviously out for the Mavericks. And then Hardaway is also out for the Mavericks, and then obviously PG and Kawhi are still out for the Clippers. And to put this into perspective a bit, Tyler, Porzingis and Hardaway missed those last 5 games for the Mavs, and they still have been like 5 and 2 ATS their last 7. So I lean the Mavericks. I don't like this Clippers team. I don't like them even when Paul George and Kawhi are playing, but I tend to fade the Clippers, and I think the Mavericks with Luka can still put up some points and score enough to cover the spread.
I'm with you 100%. It's just a weird Clippers team, man. Like,
Well, and so actually with this Clippers team, one thing to kind of keep an eye on, and I don't know if tonight's the night, but they had a couple games there when they were down 20 to 30 points and then come back and actually win. So if you do play the Mavericks on this, keep an eye on the game. If the Mavericks get up like a serviceable lead, you might want to sprinkle a little live money on the Clippers money line because they
salt based sprinkle.
you never know when that Clippers team is just going to turn it on and just roar back and take a random win. So keep an eye on that if you are taking the Mavericks in this one. All right, this one, NBA Finals rematch. The Bucks at the Suns. Suns 4-point favorites, I think. Still, let me check. Yep, our Suns 3.5-point favorites. The over under is at 233. Suns 13 and 14 ATS at home. Bucks 15 and 13 ATS away. Bucks 5 and 1 ATS their last 6. Suns 3 and 2 ATS their last 5. The Suns have been averaging 112 points their last 5. That is excluding the Bulls game because against the Bulls they scored 127, so I kind of consider that an outlier. The Bucks are averaging 123.4 over their last 5. I know this total is high, Tyler, but I'm looking at possibly the over here.
I was just looking. The Suns really only lost Jalen Smith, right?
Yes,
And Torrey Craig for Jalen Smith
correct.
in the second. So obviously Jalen Smith won't be there. Torrey Craig won't be there, but Jalen Smith didn't play a ton anyway. So you're leaning over.
I struggle with this one. I mean, the numbers almost suggest taking the Bucks, but in a game like this, especially like a finals rematch, you have to imagine both teams will be up to it. So I don't know. This is why I need your help because the numbers didn't stick out to me. It didn't suggest anything, and then I was looking at some of the higher scoring games these teams have been playing the last few, and I was leaning the over and just hope for points in a good game, but I'm open to discussion or thoughts.
So Bucks obviously traded DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
Um, Lopez is still out, I believe, right? Like he's out for a while,
Yeah.
and that's only their two real big
George
people out.
Hill. George Hill's out. He's probably sixth, seventh man.
He's serviceable.
Yeah.
I mean, Giannis obviously going to do his thing.
Yep.
Chris Paul's going to do his thing. Booker's going to do his thing. We saw what Giannis did to Aiden in the playoffs. So, I mean, probably a lot of points scored, like you said. I'm with you on the over here. I mean, it's kind of a higher number, but I mean, it should be a good game. No, Dizz the spirits flowing through us, saying, "Hey, take the over. You don't want to root for a boring game." So
That's right. That's right. And especially a game like this where pretty much everyone's going to be watching. It's going to be the highlight of the night, the game of the night. You'd have to assume NBA Finals rematch.
Is that nationally televised?
Good question. I do not know that answer. Is it
Check.
is it TNT Thursday? Oh shit, it is TNT
Yeah.
Thursday.
Oh,
Um,
appropriate there, Pat.
so it is this game is on TNT. It is one of the TNT Thursday games.
There you go.
So
So biggest stage, like we don't want to root for a bad game.
right.
National television. Let's send the over.
All right.
Probably not great. Probably not great gambling logic there, saying you don't want to see a bad game, but
It's all right. To each their own.
the numbers support it too. We promise.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. All right, Tyler. This next game, the last game, we have the Knicks at the Warriors. Warriors 9.5 point favorites. Over under is 218. Golden State owns all the major offensive categories, obviously. Warriors 17 10 and 2 ATS at home. Knicks 12 and 15 ATS away. Knicks 1 and 6 ATS their last 7. Warriors 2 and 1 ATS their last 5. However, the Warriors last night lost to the Jazz without Rudy Gobert by 26 points last night. This
Uh,
team is in a bad spot, even though their numbers may not necessarily indicate it. Draymond and Klay Thompson are both out for Golden State tonight. The Knicks are without R.J. Barrett. Let me make sure nothing changed. Oh wait, Klay Thompson is playing. Sorry, that changed. But Draymond Green is still out. R.J. Barrett, Derrick Rose out for the Knicks. Um, what are you thinking here? I mean, to be honest, the way the Warriors have been playing of late, the way the Knicks have been playing of late, I like the under of 217.5 or 218, whatever it is. But I was also thinking Knicks. I mean, I know the Knicks have been bad, but Golden State is a different team without Draymond Green out there. I know Draymond doesn't score a lot of points, but it's just a different team without Draymond. So I'm curious. This is another one where I could be convinced either to go with the under or any other team. So I'm curious as to what your thoughts are here.
okay. I don't know if our mutual friend Jake texted you this. He said he was going to,
He
but
did send some stuff.
he told me after the past couple days, he's full on fade the Warriors on bets. Still, Draymond comes back.
Hey, I'm with him. I'm 100% with him.
He said he's tired. He's been betting on them. They haven't been covering. They've been losing, getting blown out even. So, like he said, I'm like you said, you got to win. Your bet together, win together.
Yep.
I mean, if they're out here blowing the spreads, blowing games with good players out, I'm with him. Like maybe fade the Warriors. So
And
that kind of into your Knicks lean you were going on.
correct. And I was astounded this morning when I saw this line was this high. I mean, I don't know that the Warriors right now without Draymond could beat any team by 9.5 points. Like, I don't think they could ever win by double digits. I mean, sure, if Steph and Klay and whoever like just super heats up and lights it up from three, that'll happen. They'll beat a team by double digits. But I feel good with the Knicks plus 9.5 here.
I'm with you. I mean, like 9.5, a lot of points, and the team that just got blown out to a less talented team missing their best defender.
Correct. Yep. Okay, so recap of those games. We got the Grizzlies minus 12, under 217.5. The Nets, Washington Wizards, Raptors minus 7.5, Mavericks minus 6.5, Bucks, Suns over 233, and Knicks plus 9.5. You parlay those together, it's $1 to win 48.77. And then I will be also using these to go ahead and put in the Hail Mary parlay of the day, which we will get to here shortly.
Let's get it.
All right, Tyler. Let's review the dumbest dummy picks from Monday. Your boy here went even Stevens 2-2. In the dumbest dummy competition, I am down 7.96 units, and Dizz after a 1-2 Monday is down 1.05 units. So I have some ground that I need to make up.
It's a little early in the month to be down. You put yourself in quite a hole here, sir.
It all came from the very first episode in February when I went 3-10 on player props, and I haven't found my way back up since.
Player prop Patty.
But I will tell you, Tyler, I have the ones tonight that will get us to positive units.
There we go.
So, first one, Tyler. Sidney Crosby to score 1+ goals versus the Ottawa Senators. That is a boost tonight. That is plus 250. Do you know why this is significant?
Why is it significant? I don't know much about hockey.
He is one goal away from his 500th career goal. The Senators are not a very strong team. Everyone's hoping that this hits, and that's great value. It's boosted from plus 160 to plus 250. So that's number one on my dumbest dummy pick for tonight.
So he's going to be getting the puck and firing away.
You would have to assume so.
Slappers from the blue line like me in NHL.
That's right. That's right. 100%. My next one, Tyler, I'm going the Memphis Grizzlies to win by 31 plus points.
I mean, you've hit on some of these before, so
I have.
I trust him.
And if there's a team to do it against, it is the Pistons. The Mavericks, when they played them last game, the Mavericks were without Porzingis. The Mavericks were without Hardaway, and they won by 26 points against them. The Grizzlies team, they play great defense. They score easily. This game will be a dog walk. It'll be over. I just got to hope when it gets down to garbage time, they can hold on to that 30-plus point lead. That's always the issue. They can have a 30-point lead going into the fourth quarter and then not end up covering the 31 points. So,
I mean, they do have a lot of young players in their main roster. They may get a little more playing time in garbage time than you'd expect just because they're young. So, I like it. I'm on board.
and then my last bet, Tyler, I'm going simple here. I'm going with that Nets Wizard under. I really think there's no way that gets anywhere near it. I'm a big fan of the Nets unders when KD has been out. So I'm going Nets Wizards under for that third competition bet.
We talked about before. I mean, there's no one to score other than Irving, so should be, pretty confident in that one too. I like that one a lot.
Absolutely. All right, Tyler. Group best bets time. We went 2-2. Thanks to your late Tyler, college basketball pick of the night. The Texas money line pick came through big for us. If it weren't for that, we would have had a negative night. As a group, we are down 1.21 units, so we're right there. We're not down 7 units like your boy here in the competition. We're only 1.21 units. We can easily get that back tonight. I think for a group best bet, we have to go Knicks plus 9.5 since Jake's also riding with us in that one.
We'll let Jake get in on that one. He's not here, so we know what he's saying. I mean, that's all he said to me today. He walked in the door and said, "Tell Pat we're fading them, fade the Warriors till Draymond's back."
Love it. You're not going to get any rebuttal from me on that one. Which other of these NBA ones or any college basketball or anything strikes your fancy tonight?
Well, me coming in unprepared. Let me take some peeks real quick at what we got. So we're in on the Grizz Pistons, right?
Yep. You want to do the Grizz minus 12?
Let me see. I mean, Grizz minus 12 looks good. Purdue's probably gonna Purdue's only 3.5 over unranked Michigan.
So that's an interesting one. So, do you remember when Michigan beat IU? It was after that Purdue game. Was that game at Michigan or was that at IU?
Let me tell you right quick.
Because I also was eyeing this game, and I was thinking maybe you could get good value with Michigan at home against Purdue.
No, that was at IU.
That's what I'm saying. So, you compare the two. I mean, I know it's not, you can't exactly go apples to oranges, and especially saying it, but literally the game after IU beat Purdue at home, IU lost to this Michigan team. And a lot of people are saying this Michigan team is as healthy as it's been all season. They had high expectations coming in, but they were kind of hurt, beat up, COVID, whatever. They're finally back fully healthy. And getting points with Michigan at home in the Big Ten matchup, I don't hate that.
These two teams literally just played on Saturday at Purdue, and Purdue won by 6.
Hey, they say 3 points.
I mean, I think getting 3 points for home court in especially the Big Ten in college basketball, I think that's easy.
I like it.
I mean, they're familiar. Like Michigan was what a top 5 ranked team, top 10 ranked team before the season started, so they obviously have talent.
Yep.
Just and we've seen them put it together for big games before at home against a team that didn't blow them out at their own place. Which I mean, it's playing at Purdue's not an easy game either. So
Nope. So, all
I
right.
was just kind of looking at that. That one looks good to me, so I'm there for that one.
Perfect. So, group best bets, we have Knicks plus 9.5, Grizzlies minus 12, and Michigan plus 3 versus Purdue, which leads us to the Hail Mary parlay of the day. Let me just put these picks in real quick. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, let's see. We're gonna get some juice on this one real quick. Hold on. Gotta get some juice going.
Not in not in the notes.
What's not in the notes?
You're gonna actually make me have to guess this now.
Well, yeah, because I wanted to put in our NBA picks into the
I,
Hail Mary parlay of the day, so I didn't want to come in with preconceived notions.
you didn't want to bet against yourself.
Exactly. Oh man, Tyler, this is a juicy one.
All right. So how many
13,
legs?
13 legs.
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah.
You want me to take a guess on it?
Just take a wild guess.
We looking around. So 13 legs.
Yes, sir.
Let me. Are we taking a? Are we looking at how many digits? We looking at here?
Are you talking decimal point or no decimal point?
I mean, we looking at 4 digits or 5 digits?
4 digits. There's four
Four
digits.
digits. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna say around 4,000.
Very good guess. It is $1 to win $3,615.70. Very, very well done, sir.
I mean, I had to take a hint. But
I mean, kind of. But so we got Grizzlies minus 12, Brooklyn, Washington under 217.5, Raptors minus 7.5, Mavericks minus 6.5, Bucks Suns over 233, Knicks plus 9.5, Sabres money line, Hurricanes Bruins over 5.5, Capitals Canadians over 6, Penguins in regulation 60-minute line, Blues regulation. What am I? I just blanked. Blues in regulation, 60-minute line, Avalanche money line, and Maple Leafs money line. This feels like the one, Tyler. This feels like the one. You are the one, Tyler.
Harry Foster Bell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, Tyler. Anything that you need to get off your chest, sir, before we call her a day?
No. I think I've said my piece thus far. This wild trade deadline. I like a lot of the moves. I think I got said my most important piece on the Ben Simmons part. Just hoping I'm wrong there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it. Make sure you check us out on Twitter and Instagram at SportsBet by Dumb. Also, check us out on the YouTube. Search for Sports Betting by Dummies in your search bar. Make sure you filter by channel. We should be the first one up there. Look for the black and yellow logo. You cannot miss it. Hope everyone has a nice, profitable night, and we will see you all tomorrow.